Now I'm going to go down. I've got two other focal point flowers here. This one and this center one here. The center one, I'm going to do the stamens like I did in on the upper one. So I'm taking my small pointed brush. Take your pointed brush, and you don't have to do a very heavy you don't have to do a heavy color here, because you can drop in the color later. So just sort of draw where your so I had to shut off my music because I can't steal other people's music for my video. I can listen to it, but I can't put it on my video. So the music that you're hearing when I'm not talking is YouTube music that they allow us to use. Okay, I'm just very casually, I guess I would say, putting in some stamens here. And I don't need to get too high. All right, now I'm going to go back and I'm just going to grab some indanthrene and make it pretty wet and drop it in here and help it to go up in between the individual stamens. And so now you can start seeing what I've done. I'm just dropping this color into my wet lines that I did. And that's about as far as I want to go with that. I think I did some higher up stamens, but this is enough, so I'm just going to paint them out at this point. I'm going to pull this color, pull this water all the way out to the edge of the petals so that I don't have just a dark spot that stops. Okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to get some of my indigo now, and I'm going to touch it into this wet area and watch how that spreads. I'm going to guide it to some extent, but I'm also going to let it spread. And now you can really start seeing what I did here. I like to do a couple of colors, build up the color on these things, because some of that other blue, that underneath blue, is going to come through. It's just going to make it more interesting. All right, now I have put water all the way up. I've put water all the way up now to the edge of my petals, so this is going to have some room to go. These lower petals are still dry. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with my other flower here. This one I'm going to try and get my brush into more of a point. I need to have at least one pretty pointy brush. Okay. All right, now go in and release the top of that. And it's just like magic. There's suddenly no more lines. It's just the spots. Just running your brush over the top of that turns that whole thing into a bunch of abstract lines, from an abstract lines into stamens. It's just really cool. Okay, now at this point I am ready to go get my darker color. I'm just going to go directly to my indigo. And I didn't actually get down here, so I am going to do over my my light spot, which I'm envisioning is like the center of the flowers, sort of lighter. So I'm going to leave that. And I'm going to get my indigo to go up. I didn't have a lot of water in this one. I could have used a little bit more water. I like the paint to be able to disperse on its own instead of getting so much help as I'm doing right now. All right. Yeah, see, it's kind of holding a little bit there. I didn't get quite enough water on this flower. So if that happens to you, just re-wet, go in and touch the edge again, and it'll come out. And then pull it out. Actually, I think I got a little bit too many stamens there. I'm going to delete that one, and I'm going to delete this one. I just had a few too many. That wasn't quite too pleasing to me. They're a little bit uniform. I typically don't do such uniform stamens, so I'm going to mess them up a little bit. I'm just pulling my brush through them to kind of get rid of that uniform shape. There. Now I have more stamens, but they aren't uniform. That's the way I like them. Okay, I've got wet over here, so I'm going to go work on this flower now. Let's see, what will I do? I'm going to get some of my indanthrene. And I'm just going to make some interest here. I'm just going to try and define petals just how I think they might be. And this picture is going to be a figment of your imagination, not mine. So make your flowers the way you see them, the way your creative talent guides you to create them. I'm going to pull this one out because that's what my creativity is telling me to do. Pull it out toward the bottom corner there because that's just what it's telling me to do right there. I'm going to grab a little bit of my indigo, darken this up, just right up in the ends of these openings here. Create some more depth. Okay, I'm going to let that be. Let's see, how wet am I over here? That's wet, I can't go there. All right, maybe I can go back up here and get at this one. This one, I'm going to go with some indanthrene for the inside. And I'm going to grab my wash brush and pull that out. And maybe a little touch, just a little touch of darker right in there. Just a touch of it. Try to really vary your darks and lights and make everything sort of a little bit of a surprise to the viewer. Okay. I'm going to define this a little bit here. So I've got a petal coming here. So I'm going to go that way a little bit. I've got indanthrene on my brush. this type of painting, you really are just kind of making up the flower as you go. You're going on your memory of flowers and your imagination of flowers. And when you finish your painting, it's going to be a very personal painting, because you're not looking at anything. You are creating what is in your mind. And it's such a unique way to paint. Most people try to look at a picture for most of their paintings, and that's great. And you know, my other videos are on that, using a photograph. But this video is about you. It's about your vision of nature, of beauty, of the beauty of these flowers. And I'm putting these shadows in where I feel they should be, not where I'm not looking at a picture. In fact, I haven't seen delphiniums in real life for quite some time, because we live in California where it's very dry and they don't like to grow here. But I am just creating the flowers that live in my head. And that's what this type of painting is all about. It's just expressing you, expressing who you are and what you see. This type of painting is like opening a window into who you are as an individual, as a painter, how you see the world. So as you watch me paint here, you can see how that's why I'm stopping sometimes and just painting, because there really isn't a lot to say sometimes about this. It's each stroke that I put down on the paper is coming to me at that moment. I look at a portion of the flower and I go, okay, I would like to see a little bit more depth there, or a little bit more brightness there, so I'll put in some bright blue, or a little more color there, so I'll put in some violet. And that's what I hope you do too. I'm trying to, by teaching you this type of painting, I'm trying to help you break the bonds of looking at a picture and just trust in your ability to create based on your memory, based on who you are. And if it doesn't turn out the way you want it to the first time, try it again. And maybe you don't connect with delphiniums as well as you would connect with another type of flower. Maybe a daisy. Maybe daisies or buttercups or gladiolas, apple blossoms, something that you just love to look at. That's really what you should choose for your subject. I'm going back and forth from indanthrene to violet. The indanthrene, if you don't have the color, it's bluer. Indigo is blue, but indigo is very dark blue. This is a lighter, it's not a lighter blue. I mean, it is a lighter blue than indigo because indigo is so dark, but it's quite a deep blue, and it's a fairly neutral blue. So if you can find one like that, I know that White Knight's colors are a little difficult to find, and I ended up going to eBay to get mine. You can buy them on eBay or Etsy. Not many art supply stores carry them. If somebody finds an art supply store that does carry them, I'm hoping that you will put that in the comments for other students, because these paints are really nice for shading, but it's just kind of a bummer that they're so hard to get. On eBay, though, you can get them sent directly from Russia, so. Although my buyer is not in Russia. I mean the person I buy from. It's really hard to paint and make sense of what you're talking about at the same time. So that's why I sort of stammer around sometimes. Because actually when I'm painting, I kind of go into sort of a zone. It's sort of a meditation to me. And I don't think. I only see what's on the paper, and my mind is not traveling around to other subjects. If that does start to happen, where I start to lose my ability to shut my mind off, I stop painting, because I will absolutely ruin my painting if I paint like when my brain is not shut off.